In 2021, I won first place and $5,000 when I pitched my art business to a panel of judges. It was and still is one of my proudest moments, and all signs were pointing to a successful business and art career. Well, here I am, 4 years later. I have pretty much stopped selling my work entirely. I am significantly less active on my socials compared to what I was before, and I have all but left my business behind. What happened? Welcome to Passionfroot, where we navigate life, purpose, and faith outside the box. Today, I want to tell you the story about my attempted entrepreneurship, my subsequent disenchantment with said entrepreneurship, and what I envision for myself moving forward. But ultimately, I'm wanting to have a conversation about this pressure to monetize your passions, to monetize yourself, and what this is doing to all of us. From an early age, many of us were taught to follow our dreams. And as we now grow older, the golden paved path of opportunity is laid out before us, and we are told you can find success doing whatever it is that you want to do. You can be your own boss, you can make your own hours, and isn't that what everyone wants? And isn't it especially what every creative person dreams of doing? Isn't a successful creative career one that makes enough money to live on? And don't we see so many people already doing this, actively making this work and showing it on social media and finding so much joy and fulfillment from it? And well, aren't you lucky, because those same people that have realized their dreams are now packaging up that dream and selling it to you with courses and books and how-to guides, saying that you too can do what they did and you can make a whole career on whatever you're passionate about, as long as you're willing to invest in yourself, monetize what is nearest and dearest to your heart, and brand yourself. And of course, you do have to buy their course, but hey, it's ridiculously low priced. Considering the value that's in that thing, I mean, you are getting a bargain. And don't you want to live up to your full potential? And don't you want to quit your 9-to-5 and achieve financial freedom and follow your purpose? Do I sound cynical to you? Okay. Yes, I know I came off pretty strong there. And yes, pretty cynical. And let's just call it an exercise in speaking boldly, because if you know me, if you've watched my videos on this channel before, you know that I typically shy away from being a very black and white person. So actually, this little intro is kind of a step outside my comfort zone. And I hope that you can see some nuance here and know that I am not speaking about everyone that sells a course or every business. I know for a fact that there are many good and genuine people who are selling business courses and truly do have a heart to help people. I know for a fact that there are many artists out there that are truly finding success and fulfillment by selling their artwork. Your own journey is your own journey, and you know what is best for you. What I've been feeling recently, I really want to share it, and maybe it'll reach the right people. I really do feel like we as creative people are kind of getting pressured into a way of life that is not actually this one size fits all. I think it's wonderful that we do live in a time where artists and makers of all sorts can make a living off of doing what they're passionate about. Like, the fact that that's a possibility is truly wonderful, but I think we need to keep in mind that this dream, making a living off of your artwork, may not actually be the dream or the perfect fit for everyone. I think this dream has been marketed to us, whether intentionally or unintentionally, like so many other things that are marketed to us that we may actually not need or not even want. And while the ability to monetize your creativity really might be a dream come true for some people, what it requires, the compromises and the sacrifices that are often required to run a successful business, may not be the right fit for everyone. Entrepreneurship may not be the answer. For so much of my life, when I wanted to pursue art and I wanted to pursue it as a business, I guess I just thought that that was the only way I would get to do art long term. There's this idea that our job is what our identity becomes. And yes, we do spend the majority of our lives working for an income. That's how we have to live. But at the same time, I still see art as my career. And when I say career, I mean something that I spend my whole life working on or working towards. I've always been an artist. I always will be an artist, no matter what my current job is, because my job does not define me, and money is not the only thing of value. And there are more paths you can take if you want to follow your passion than the one that leads to owning a business. Allow me to backtrack and tell you a little bit of my story with entrepreneurship. And yes, I do have a script. You've probably seen me looking at it, and this is going to be a really long chunk of stuff to memorize, so I'm not even going to try. You may see me darting my eyes back and forth quite a lot. Just bear with me. Art has been my passion for as long as I can remember, but I didn't really see it as my future career until I was in late high school and I finally decided, you know what, I'm gonna be an art major. Now, I understood that this wasn't a major that would necessarily lead to a lot of money-making opportunities, but I figured that was okay because I knew what I wanted to do, and that was to be an entrepreneur, an artist entrepreneur. While in high school, I started sharing my work on Instagram and YouTube, and I continued to do so throughout college. I sold commissions here and there. I began my online shop and continued to improve the quality of my art prints. I had a couple YouTube videos that really took off, and they really grew my online following and led to demand for certain products like tiny paintings and hand-painted clothing. Good times. I participated in college markets where I experienced great success in selling my work via prints, stickers, postcards, and especially screen printed shirts, which I had learned how to do in a college art class. Those were very successful. My business grew each year. I even quit my college job to focus on my business, and that's not really as impressive as it sounds because my mom's job got me a very significant discount on college. So there's that. But it's still something. And finally, in my last year of college, after all of this business growth and all this selling, I decided to enter my business into my college's business pitching competition. Now, this involved creating a business plan and a presentation that you would pitch before a panel of 4 to 5 judges, if I remember correctly, and of course a room full of onlookers. I worked very hard on my business plan and my presentation. I went through an initial round of pitching to figure out who would move on to the last round, and of course I made it to the final event. And I'll cut the anticipation here because you already know because I spoiled it at the beginning, but I did end up winning.
Our first place winner is Darcy Dennis.
First place, $5,000, a lot of encouraging words from the judges themselves. I soaked up the joy and pride from all my friends and my family. I was honestly kind of shocked that I won because I was, I think, the only solo presenter. I was one of the few women pitching, and I also think I was the only one who didn't have a business major or minor. So, not to brag, but the biggest thing was that I had a track record. I was actively pursuing my business. I had evidence to show. I was putting in the work, and I think this went a long way to impress the judges. So the pitching competition took place within the first few months of 2021. I had my BFA thesis art show in April, and I graduated in May. With the money from the competition, if you're curious, I bought a new laptop to replace the dinosaur I had been using throughout college. I bought a printer to make my art prints at home. To use a very technical business word, I brought my print production in-house. That's what I told the judges. I also bought a scanner, again with the purpose of making art prints. I upgraded my website so that I could sell online. I was using other selling platforms and I wanted to bring it to my own website. And then the rest of the money became my buffer for the remainder of 2021, during which I didn't have a job and I was just trying to make something more of my business. Throughout the following years, I sold art at markets. None of them, unfortunately, came close to what I experienced in my college markets. I tried to feed the social media machine, though my growth on every platform had plateaued in the years before. It happens. I tried and tried to make strangers on the internet interested enough in my artwork to buy it online. And while I was pursuing all this, I really felt like my art itself had stagnated. College, the academic side of art had ignited a small flame within me to pursue art as a serious practice, an exploration of the world, myself, philosophy, meaning, and to really, really develop my visual voice, the language around my artwork. But as social media and markets and general business maintenance took over my time, that exploration into the depths of artistry and into what I could do as an artist came to a halt. At the beginning of 2022, a new job landed in my lap, and just in time, because my pitch winnings had significantly dwindled because my art business and various freelance jobs I was doing at the time were not enough to keep me stable. This job was actually, fun fact, the very beginning of what is now Passionfroot, and Passionfroot is still my main job. I enjoyed the greater stability that this job gave me, taking some of the pressure off of selling my art. I now had permission to pursue art projects simply for the sake of art and expression. And that was something I realized I actually really needed, and I didn't want to give up. I could plan a whole art show and spend lots and lots of time on it without worrying if the work would sell or not. If it did, wonderful. And if it didn't, that was okay, because that wasn't the point of the art show. Making money from my art was no longer needed because I was making the money I needed elsewhere. So somewhere within the past couple of years, I ended up disabling my online shop. I just really wasn't using it anymore. I wasn't really advertising it, and so I was barely making any sales, and it wasn't worth keeping it up. Then also last year, 2024, my selling at markets came to a grinding halt. I did a few of them, and then I just stopped, thinking I would pick it back up again, and I never have, and I don't really feel like it. I just am not interested in that right now. Okay, now I realize that some may listen to this and say that, well, Darcy, you experienced some difficulty and you couldn't really get your business off the ground as fast as you wanted to, and so you just quit. Maybe if you had stuck with it, you wouldn't be sitting here making a cynical video about business, and instead you would actually be thriving and talking about how much you loved making a business out of your passion. And yes, I will admit that in some ways, struggling to make a consistent income from my art business has led to some of my frustration with it, of course. But I genuinely think that the biggest reason I stopped trying to run a business is because my path as an artist was leading me somewhere else. And I feel a lot of freedom to now explore creativity on my own terms. I will admit that even today, I am not pursuing my art as seriously as I would like, meaning I'm not spending regular daily or weekly time in my art studio. I'm having a bit of a difficult time balancing art with my job. I do kind of wish I had more time to devote to art, but yes, as thankful as I am for my job, it naturally will take time and energy away from my art practice. But you know what? Even if I made art my full-time thing, my full-time business, I would still have a job that took away from the making of the work. And that job would be called marketing or market research or packaging prints and shipping orders or making TikToks and reels to advertise my work or managing my website or any one of the vast number of things that you also have to do as a business owner. And at this time in my life, I'd rather work for someone else and not monetize my art so that my art does not need to exist for any other reason but the pure joy of creating and exploring ideas and creating stuff for my community. It's really nice that my art doesn't answer to anyone. So I had a little rant on my Instagram story the other day that was prompted by, of all things, my recent joining of a business class. My current skepticism and aversion to all things business was actually the reason that I decided to take this class, because I believe that eventually I do still want to sell my work. I no longer want to make a living off of my art, but I'd still like to share my work with people and be paid for the work that I put into it, if someone does want to own a piece. And it would also be nice to fully fund my art practice with money that I make from my art. So if this is something I want. I should probably work on getting over my current feelings about business and move into a plan that feels more aligned and sustainable for me. Thus, the business class. It's also a business class specifically designed for creatives, so that helps a little bit. So I first announced on my story that I was a part of the class just to begin with, and then I decided to give a voice to all the feelings that led up to that decision to take the class. I've gotten to a very strange and possibly unhealthy place with business. Put simply, I don't like it. Most of my teen/young adult life, I've been pursuing an art career through entrepreneurship, but somewhere in the confusing era of being post-grad, I became disenchanted with the idea of selling my work. This is probably due to a variety of reasons, including burnout or something close to it, struggles with selling, lack of clarity in my art practice, and exhaustion with consumer culture and being advertised to. I've seen a lot of crucial parts of my old vision come to a grinding halt. Vlogging, selling online, selling at markets, taking commissions. It's very disorienting to have a lot of pieces of my old identity become so tenuous, but I guess that's what happens in your 20s, and I don't regret any of it. I know selling work is still important to me, and I'd also love to sustain all my art activities, events, projects with the money I earn from my art. I've just lost a lot of interest in selling. I don't think that's a bad thing. I've definitely needed some time to just be an artist, and I think I may need some more time with that. But I hope this step of taking on this business program will bring me the clarity I need, as well as a healthier perspective on and approach to business. There you have it. I think the crucial phrase in all of that was that I think I need some more time with just being an artist, because honestly, I feel like I am just getting started in my art career. So realizing that I was actually not ready to get back into business was a really fun realization to have now that I have paid and committed to a year-long business class. But actually, I really do think I will get a lot out of it. There's a lot of people I've been able to meet, so I'm sticking with it. I got some really heartfelt responses to that story. There were many people that are in the same boat as I am. And one of those responses really stuck out to me because she put to words something I have been feeling for a while. She talked about how we who live in this modern social media age have been so conditioned to create for and cater to an audience. And it's so hard to find your own creative voice when this is the landscape in which you're working. It's hard to delve deeply into your core, where true, unique thought and creativity come from when you're being pressured by our capitalistic system to harvest every little creation and thought to become a sellable product, whether it's a physical product or even an Instagram reel. Not everything has to be or should be sold. Some things should remain sacred. And that's where I am today. I think before I dive back into business, if I do dive back in, I need to find my creative voice again, where it's the most authentic and driven by reasons other than financial gain. I need to find motivation for making art from somewhere besides selling it at a market or showing it to an online audience. And I'll be honest, 2025 has felt like a pretty creatively quiet year for me, at least compared to years where I have been more active as an art business owner. However, I have still made things, and I've made them for the joy of making them. I've made them to bring community together. I've made them to explore and grow. I am actively finding those deeper reasons to create. So I urge you to listen to what your needs as a creative person truly are. I urge you to find within yourself, within your family, within your community and the world around us, within love and wonder and nature and existence and faith, enough reason to do something besides the money you can make from it. And perhaps eventually, out of that passion that is now grounded in something real, you can make a business. Because I really don't think there's anything wrong with making a business out of your passion. Or maybe you'll never choose to make it into a business. And I certainly don't think there's anything wrong with that either. The world needs your creative voice in whatever capacity you choose to share it. I'm eager to hear your thoughts on this topic. If you are a creative person who owns your own business, let me know how that is serving you. Let me know why you do that and where you get your motivation from. How do you balance true creativity with making a sellable product? If you don't have a business and you make creative work, how do you fit that into your life when you also have to make a living? Let's keep the conversation going in the comments. I will meet you down there, and thank you for watching. Let's continue creating and growing together.